They have never lost by more than 11 points, which is very impressive. They put up a great fight, especially against the top dogs such as Mission Hills, somebody that San Marcos has previously been in the past. So, but let's look into last season a little bit. They, the La Jolla Country Day Tories, right? Yeah. Tories, yeah. They ended their season with a mediocre 17-14 record, and they had multiple powerhouse wins though against Cathedral Catholic being one of them, 59-52. Unfortunately, they rematched later in the season and they lost 73-60. But then we also had Mission Hills, another top name, being 55-52, and then lastly Torrey Pines with a 60-55 win. Unfortunately, they did lose against us last year. Fortunate for us, though.
Yeah, and one of the big names that's going to surely help out La Jolla Country Days, returning from last year's senior Wyatt Tilson. He currently leads their team in points per game, averaging 19 points. He should be a huge player to watch. Another big player to watch is the star freshman Egypt Dean. So far this season, already 2 double-doubles in only 6 games.
Only six,
you know,
yeah.
A starter. He's going to be an absolute star for this team. And you know, fun fact about him: one reason why he's a notable name, son of famous singer Alicia Keys. So he'll definitely be someone to look out for.
Yeah.
Maybe she shows up tonight.
I don't know.
But let's flip it over to San Marcos. You know, we talked about La Jolla Country Day, their season last year. What was San Marcos looking like last year?
Yeah, so San Marcos is nothing shy from perfect. I mean, we've got a 25-5 record, ending off the season with a 10-0 in league. We were undefeated in league, and we ended up winning that league. Very competitive league, like I said. Del Norte. We also had Mission Hills in there as well. We did end up beating La Jolla Country Day last year, 71-59. It's a very dominant win. Unfortunately for us, in the playoffs, we were cut off with a loss against Cathedral Catholic, 73-68, and a J. Sarah loss, 80-56. But I will say this season is looking bright. I mean, we are off to a pretty rough 4-3 start, but we have never lost by more than 9 points. There was only one game that was 9 points. The rest of them were 2 or 3. Very, very, very promising season for us.
And one of the big things about this team this year is their ability to battle late into these games. You talk about how only one of these games they lost by more than 9, and a couple of these games they've lost on game winners. So keeping it close, keeping it tight till the very end. They don't stop the fight. But I think one of the big contributors for why maybe this slow start is occurring is the shakeup in the roster. A lot of notable names no longer with this team this year. Obviously, senior Elias Flame graduated last year. He was a starter. You got Isaiah Hill. He was a star freshman, good rotation guy. He transferred. He's at J. Sarah Catholic now. Jackson McCall. He's now a junior. He went to St. Augustine. He was a big player. Started ever since his freshman year. Had a huge impact with this team. But the biggest name that left, and the biggest name probably on this team from last year, was Richie Ramirez, the now junior. Had multiple Division I offers. Was an absolute amazing player, one of the top players in all of San Diego County, and now he's all the way up in Santa Ana at Mater Day, playing with the Matadors. So a huge shakeup in this team's roster. But if you look a little bit deeper, they still got guys, just showing how loaded this team has been the past couple of years. And this year, they're going to be led by their big 3 guys, and senior Mike Brown, senior Jalen Williams, and junior Nico Mott. These 3 guys are going to be the ones who get it done. 3 starters on this team, been playing huge roles ever since they got here, and definitely this season is going to be the season for them to shine. And all 3 of them are the leaders in points per game. Pretty much every other statistical category, they're the leaders in. Yeah. Definitely going to take a huge role. Some of the best players in their league, and they're going to show why this season.
Yeah, and mind you, I mean, those 3 starters have been starters last year and maybe even the previous years before. Like, they have been constant names on this team. 25-5 last year couldn't have been done without those 3. So we will be looking out for them. But like Brady said, last year we had a phenomenal team. However, this year we have been started off with a couple of dominant wins. San Diego, 90-49, dominant win with that, and then Montgomery, a previous loss last year, but being 71-31 this year. I mean, like, those wins right there tell you that we have a very promising season ahead of us.
Yeah, and I think you kind of talked about the offense. I think that's going to be one of the big factors of this team. One of the staples of San Marcos has always been their offense. They're a huge scoring team. They're going to, put as many points on the board as they can and just try to beat you that way. So far this season, they're averaging almost 70 points per game through 7 games this season. You take a look back at last year, they were about that same mark, about 70 point per game mark. So that's definitely going to be something to watch out. La Jolla Country Day, they do have a pretty strong defense. Both these defenses rank around the same, both giving up around 50 points. I believe La Jolla Country Day is around 51. Us San Marcos Knights are around 55 points per game. So definitely have some shutdown talent on the defense. But the difference is going to be in the offense, as where San Marcos exceeds La Jolla Country Day, not quite as much as a high firepower offense. They kind of rank around, somewhere around the high 50s, low 60s in points per game. So it's definitely going to be an interesting thing to see here today, how those two teams match up with the offenses and defenses. You also look at some more deeper trends, like when they're scoring their points. You look at La Jolla Country Day, you kind of see some trends. That first half is when they get up, and the second half kind of start when they slow down. San Marcos, on the other hand, every time they come out of a break, so the first quarter, third quarter, coming out of breaks, coming out of halftime, that's when they have all their energy, that's when they score big, and then the quarters that follow after those kind of slowing down. So we'll have to see how those teams approach that. There's going to be some huge factors playing forward in this game.
Yeah, and those averagers points, the points that they average every game, I mean, it is a pretty fair distribution. I mean, we have maybe about a 5-point difference in each quarter, but like Brady mentioned, first quarter and third quarter are going to be the most dominant for our team. We put up 17 to 20 points in both those quarters, and so we're going to have to take a look at that. Maybe they'll find an adjustment, but I will say it is a pretty healthy distribution. Anyways, in the rest of the season, we have nothing shy of an easy season. We have Carlsbad, Cathedral Catholic, Mission Hills, LCC. Those 4 teams have been constant names in this category. So I'm stoked. I'm ready to see what this game's going to be about.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a great game, and I think we're going to look forward to an absolutely amazing season. If they can build off the success that they had last year, being one of the top teams in San Diego, then I think this season is going to be really fun, and it's going to start today with the home opener. So with that being said, AJ, La Jolla Country Day at San Marcos, who do we like in the home opener here in the North County Classic?
Birdie, as you mentioned, we had phenomenal statistics for both sides. I mean, we've been consistent with points on the San Marcos side and consistent with points on the La Jolla side. However, I do think that we have the more manpower on our team, more returning names. They talk about freshman skill on La Jolla Country Day, the upcoming freshman, the returning senior, but we have 3 consistent names on the San Marcos side for the past 2 to 3 years. Brady, I'm going to have to take San Marcos on this one.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to agree with you. You kind of talked about the returners, guys that are coming back. And basketball is one of those sports where it's usually the younger guys. It's the freshmen, the sophomores. They're starting early and they're taking over the reps. But San Marcos, I think this team looks a little bit different. The young talent is good, don't get me wrong. We're going to see a lot of young guys this season break out and play some huge roles. But you look at the returners and just how big of an impact they make for this team. And I think especially with a lot of those younger guys leaving from last year, it's going to be those returners who are going to have to step up and play a bigger role than they maybe did last year. And I think that's going to allow them to excel. I mean, all these guys are top talented guys. They're going to be dudes with offers. A lot of these guys are going to be playing at the next level in the following year, in the following 2 years. And I think they're big contributors to this offense and why this team is so good at scoring and how they can just get up so quick and just beat you that way. So I got the San Marcos Knights winning this game in the home opener in the North County Classic Tournament. And with that, that's going to do it for the very first episode of SMHS Courtside. Once again, my co-host AJ Turner. I'm your host Brady Chesler. We thank you for watching from the Knights Center, and we thank you to Watchfire for sponsoring, and we will see you next time.